Well, my next guest is a financial professional with the Haven Financial Group, Larry Kallevig, and he has a theory that, and this is actually in a study, that for dads, one of the things they should try and do is actually pay off debt, and everybody obviously wants to pay off their debt, but he says it actually could affect the way kids behave. Larry Kallevig is joining us now. Larry, hey there, how are you?
Very good, Esme. Thank you for having me.
And happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Appreciate it.
a day early. But let me ask you, tell us about this viewpoint, because I've never heard something like this before.
Yeah, the study is actually in the Institute of Poverty at the University of Wisconsin-Madison came out and says there's a significant impact that parents' debt can have on kids' behavior and actually their well-being.
And how does that work exactly?
Well, as debt increases, and certainly within U.S. households, debt has become a major problem. As the debt increased, the children's behavior got worse. Now, it varied depending on the type of debt, which was interesting. Higher levels of, you'd say educational debt, student loans, home mortgages, they actually were linked to far fewer behavioral problems. But on the other side, unsecured debt, as we know it, credit card debt, payday loans, overdue medical bills, they were tied to much more behavior problems with the kids.
Interesting. Obviously, the family's very stressed out about that. But interesting to hear that. And I wonder if that study did not find the link between the high student loans debt and kids' behavior, because it seems as if, and obviously student loan debt has been around for a long time. This is not a brand new problem, but from where you sit, I mean, hasn't it really seems to have exploded over the last decade?
Student debt, a lot of economists say student debt is the next epidemic. Now, I wouldn't go that far, but as far as the perception of the educational debt or home loans, the end result in the long run should be significantly better because of equity and higher income paying jobs, assuming they can get a job. It wasn't linked to the major behavior problems as the unsecured debt.
Got it. And you also put as one of the stressors was the unpaid medical bills. I mean, a lot of people, even now, I mean, we're about to head into a nurses' strike tomorrow morning. One of the main issues here, or the main issue here, is that the nurses say that Allina Healthcare wants to put them all on the Allina plan, which is what all the other employees are on. But what they're upset about is that the nurses' current health plan actually involves very little out-of-pocket expense, and the maximums that you can spend out-of-pocket is pretty low. This is the reverse model, which is more the trend now, is where you've got health plans that actually have lower premiums, but the potential out-of-pocket costs and the maxes are much higher. Are you seeing in your business more people sort of struggling with these medical bills, even if they do have insurance?
Most definitely. I mean, even in recent weeks, I've had numerous people come in and that have had to file bankruptcy simply because of medical costs, not anything to do with credit cards, but they got over their head, and quite frankly, it was medical. They had to do it, but it got them into a really tough position.
Right. And these are people, do they have insurance?
Some of them have insurance, some don't, but the high deductibles, out-of-pocket costs, they don't have the money. Liquid, it causes real problems.
Right. Absolutely. In terms of the student loan debt, what are some of the things that you're advising people to do?
Well, education is extremely important. You don't want to minimize that, but certainly as you think college, now I don't have any kids to that age yet, but it's certainly something we talk about regularly. Minimizing, taking advantage of all the different things that are out there, so you can reduce the amount that you have as far as liability goes when it's all said and done. But the costs are astronomical, and I don't anticipate it getting any better anytime soon.
Right. One thing that I'm seeing, and this is, I think, something that's going on across the country, is that, younger people in their 20s and 30s in the aftermath of the Great Recession are a lot of them are reluctant to actually purchase homes. And a lot of them are renting longer. I think perhaps they saw, that their parents take the hit in the Great Recession, where I think almost everyone lost equity in their home or lost value in their home. What are you seeing there, and what advice are you giving people?
Well, the equity, the home ownership still should be it's a major piece to the puzzle. I'm a firm believer in the home ownership aspect of things. However, with the way 2007, the real estate bubble, when that popped, it scared people. The problem is, as far as real estate goes, there's just nothing out there to purchase because there's very few homes on the market. But certainly I wouldn't discourage somebody from getting into a home.
Yeah, it just seems like it is a trend. More young people actually living with their parents longer, but an awful lot of people I know who have kids sort of in their 20s are just kind of saying, this is too scary. We're going to rent. And it's something that, and you're right, there's not a lot of different things that are available out there, especially in sort of when the lower price points. In terms going back to this study, what was the thing that surprised you the most about it?
Well, it was surprising and it wasn't. It boils down, especially with families, it comes down to stress. You said it very well. The stress of the unsecured debt, the credit cards, it comes down to stress. And as a parent, when kids, you may try to hide it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, they're very intuitive. And if they sense stress, they're going to be stressed. And unfortunately, in this study, it showed that behavioral decisions were not always the best when it was linked to this type of debt.
Right. And obviously somebody who's, if family's having trouble making their mortgage payments, that is a very stressful time because they're wondering where they're going to live. That's something, even though we have emerged from the black hole of the real estate bubble in which we saw so many foreclosures in our community, certainly saw them. That's still got to be a very difficult situation for a lot of families.
Most definitely. And that's why I always encourage, just like we all want to pay down debt, but it comes down to having a plan again. And that's the big part of it, following a plan, adhering to the plan, paying off that debt. It's a process.
All right. Well, Larry Kallevig, financial professional with Haven Financial Group, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you much, Esme. I really appreciate it. And happy Father's Day to all your listeners.
Absolutely. All right, folks.